Well, Rudy Giuliani was found liable, that means guilty, in defaming the volunteer poll workers, Ruby Freeman and her daughter, Shay Moss. These wonderful people were volunteering their time to help tally up the votes quickly so that everyone could find out who won the 2020 election. And they're just ordinary people having fun, working together, bonding, mother and daughter, in this community activity, both of them showing their patriotism and their interest in making sure that they spent their free time doing something worthwhile for the community and for the United States. Then Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump, on that famous Georgia telephone call, repeated their names over 20 times, saying that they were thieves, they were crooked, they were stealing ballots, they were putting ballots in suitcases and on disk drives, corrupt. Then they started calling them drug dealers, heroin, cocaine, said they were acting as if they were selling drugs. All of this stuff, racist. These women weren't selling drugs. Why do you say this? I would not say this about Giuliani and his mother, although Giuliani would be closer to one selling drugs. But to do that on these great Americans who were helping with the election. Well, Giuliani has been found liable. He has been told to pay their attorney's fees, and they will have a trial to decide how much these women get as punitive damages for the defamation. I think $450 million per person would be a good amount of money. After all, they broadcast this over and over and over and over again, drilled it into the heads of Americans, about 350 million Americans, $1 for each American, plus the people they were really aiming for were their crazy followers. These people have a very low IQ. They still believe Trump is president. They still feel that after many, many recounts of the votes in various states, that something was still corrupt. They were stealing the voting machines, breaking them down, and stealing voter information. They were taking cases to the Supreme Court where they were told there was nothing wrong with the votes. Trump and Giuliani must be held to the reasonable person standard. If a reasonable person would believe that after all these counts and recounts, after these Supreme Court judgments and so forth, and even breaking into the machines, if they feel that there's still something wrong, even though they have no evidence to help them with their accusations, well, then they're just crazy. They're not reasonable, and they do not have the right to represent anybody in the United States. They are unreasonable people. They are only out to make the data fit the conclusion they have already drawn, that Trump should be president. But that's not true. The elections were valid, and Joe Biden won the election. Now they say Trump didn't know he lost because he kept saying he won. Well, no one comes into a state asking for 11,780 votes if they think they won. If somebody won, they don't debate the number of votes. They just yell, "Hey, I won," and they dance off. When someone comes in asking for 11,780 votes to be stolen from a county, that's because they lost the election and they need more votes to say that they won. So of course they knew they lost. That is verified by their actions and the phone call and their statements. So we don't need to keep debating this. Of course they knew that they lost, and they try to put on this stupid statement that they thought they won, that they think they're still winners. But if you win, you don't look for more votes. If you win, you win. Trump never had to play with the other kids on the playground. He never knew what it was like to lose a game. His dad always fixed it for him. And so when he really loses something he wants, he doesn't know how to accept the referee or the umpire's decision. He never played basketball. He doesn't know anything about accepting. Was that basket valid or not? Was somebody fouled or not? So this is a lesson for Trump and Giuliani, how to play with the other kids on the playground. So I think these two ladies should each get $450 million for punitives and all of the damage caused to them in the past, in the present, and in the future. And for their children. Their children will also be hooked up with these names and these parents, and the crazy followers of Trump will go on in the future claiming that Trump won the 2020 election, which is a falsehood, and they will have ringing in their ears the names of these women. So for generations, they will have to be careful, special protection, and so forth, in order to protect themselves from the Trump crazies. I predict these two women can go down and own Mar-a-Lago if they want to. I predict these women should have a happy life, knowing that many, many people support them, and we want them to be able to get over the ill statements made by Trump, Giuliani, and many, many of the other members of the Trump gang. We can't help what they say, but we can make them pay. Now, Giuliani is running out of money, so I think Trump and Giuliani should be both liable for the amounts. And whatever they can't get out of Giuliani, they can get from Trump, because Trump is getting a lot of donations. And those donations can go directly to these ladies who were defamed and had their lives turned around, made miserable, and have been through a lot. And they were just being great citizens volunteering to help tally the results of the election. So now that Giuliani has been convicted, Trump will follow quite easily, because if Giuliani, being Trump's lawyer, if he could not find any basis for truth in the statements he made against these women, well, certainly Trump won't be able to. So Trump will be going down the exact same road as Giuliani, and Trump will eventually also be held guilty of defamation. And it's a big deal. Normally, we have defamation one person to another. But how many people get defamed when you're an ordinary citizen by a president and a person who was, felt to be Mr. New York after 9/11? These people carry a lot of weight with their names and their education, except for Trump. His education is very low. Trump is a very stupid person with, it's a bonehead. But, they still carry a lot of weight because Trump was president. And so it makes the defamation much, much, much worse. These two will be in the history books. And what they will say, I hope, will be that these people were abused. They were abused by white men who had power and felt they could do anything they wanted to them without consequence. So, what do you think? Like and subscribe. Bye.